Okay, so there we are. I think we have. Can you see the marina? Yeah, I think the sound is hello? 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 Can you hear me? Let's see. I don't know if I've got any sound. Let's see if we can. Let's see if this wireless microphone comes on. If it doesn't come on, then I have to change something. I guess I have to get closer to the microphone. The wireless isn't getting picked up properly. Okay, so let's see. We've got a little bit of noise there as well. And hey, Angelica, Alchemist Mother, welcome to my live. Welcome aboard. Leonard Thaddeo, welcome to my board, my live afloat. My connection. What did I do wrong here? Where did it go? There you are. That. Technology is not what I really want it to be here. Now we look better, so we're back. Okay, so the biggest problem is I have to be much closer to the phone for this sound to work. So let's just turn off this wireless microphone. It's a waste of time. And let's get ourselves closer to the technology. And yeah, that's the best I can make this. Maybe if I move the phone around just a little bit, then I won't get the wind noise as much. And I have to adjust this. Okay, that's better. Yeah, I see the wind noise has died down a little bit. Okay, so let's see if that gives us a decent picture. Yeah, so we're a little bit quiet. I'm sorry about that. I have to get this wireless microphone properly set up to make this work properly. And hey DJ, thanks for coming aboard. Yeah, I saw your live earlier. Good show. Good show. Let me turn down the volume on here. I'm getting an echo. And let's turn down this volume. And now I can hear my myself think. Yeah, Nightbot has a mind of his own, and sometimes you wonder whether he's a good thing, but I guess we do want to prevent weird spam, and we rely on the bots to take care of that for us. And let me just see how much wind noise we're getting here. We seem to be okay. Yeah, we've got about 10 knots of wind, but the boat is pointing west, and the camera is in the forward hatch, also pointing west. Sorry, the wind is from the east, so we don't really see a lot of wind noise now. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of wind noise, so it's always something that has to be dealt with. But I see the people that do lives while they're walking. There's a bunch of people in Toronto walking around that seem to have pretty good sound talking while they're walking, and I'm going to try to get a decent Bluetooth microphone that'll work with this particular phone, and make it easier to protect the phone from the wind noise, and provide a better experience. So it's harder to figure out than I thought in terms of just making some of the technology work. Oh, I see what happened here. I lost myself again. Let's change a setting, another setting. Yeah, so it's getting dark here earlier than last time we did this. It's only 10 to 7. Well, no, it's almost 7. And but we've had a cloudy day. It rained a lot of the day, and it actually looked like it was going to start raining a little bit, and then that didn't happen. So we're thankful for that. I was going to do some work on the boat today, and with the weather being so cruddy, I decided that it wasn't worth coming out to do that. It's still pretty cold. It got up to 20 degrees day before yesterday, and trees are all green. You don't see much of that here from the angle that the camera is at. I'm going to actually move that camera. I think this is a very boring picture. Let's see if we can make this picture a little bit more exciting. if we were to rotate completely this way, there we are, and bring that down. Bring that in. That's a better looking picture. It's just the front of the boat, but not seeing so much of the hatch. And more boats are in the water now. The marina's almost full. Hey, Drunken Chef, thanks for dropping by. Always a pleasure, even if it's only for a quick hello. But we're going to try to do lives all summer on Wednesday night from the boat. And once it gets warmer, then we'll sit in the cockpit. There's a few bugs now, not that many. We have these things that we call midges up here, and the midges are they don't bite, but they get in your face. So you're walking along the beach, and you walk into a swarm of these things, and they feel like they're attacking you. They're not really, hey creatures, thanks for dropping by. Welcome aboard. Ahoy. So the midges are weird. And then they go away, like by the end of May, they're gone. Either they turn into something different. I've never really researched that to see what midges become when they grow older. They don't turn into butterflies. I'm pretty sure that they're not that exciting. But they're there, so it becomes a bit of a challenge making that work. How come we get buffering? Cheap Wi-Fi. The hatches on the boat all have screens, so we can keep bugs from getting in. Only the main hatch doesn't have a screen, and I don't know whether it's they didn't make one or whether the previous owner lost it. So we'll have to make basically a screen with Velcro and just roll it down and Velcro it to the side to keep it from keep the bugs from getting in. Say once the summer, once it gets nice and warm, July, August, September, if it gets really warm, then yeah, it's less pleasant. Interestingly, we have a gazebo in the backyard that we bought 10 years ago, and it came with bug screens, and they got attacked by the raccoons trying to get in, so we got rid of them. But they would have made a great material for bug screens on the boat. So that's always the thing. The friends of mine just last year they had their boat was all open, and over winter they bought a complete enclosure for the cockpit. So it ends up being like a tent. I think it's a little bit claustrophobic, in fact, but it gives them they can hang out in the back and not worry about bugs coming by. I don't know how they sail. I mean, a lot of sailboats have full enclosures, but when you're inside the enclosure, the roof is opaque. You can't see your sails. So how do you manage knowing where the wind is and whether your sail angle is right, and whether you should head up a little bit or drop off a little bit? And I've never been sailing with somebody that has a full enclosure on their boat. It seems weird, but again, I mean, people use their boats as a cottage, as a summer home, and sailing might not be the greatest priority in terms of having a nice living space. So the got an airplane coming into the airport. Just for a second. And I heard a bunch of seagulls earlier as well. Hey, stitching it up. Thanks for coming aboard. Ahoy. I put seagull sounds into the soundtrack of my videos because I think they add a bit of a nautical flair to some situations. But the seagulls, I love the sound. I'm not a great fan of seagulls crapping on things, but they're part of the environment, and when you hear seagulls, you're close to the water, and yeah, drop your link, make friends. I do the same when I'm on other people's lives, always looking for an opportunity to follow someone and get followed in return, and watch stuff, and you learn so much by looking at other people's videos, and they're describing their lives, especially the vlog people that are doing video logs, and it's sort of a day in the life, but it's interesting. You get a day in the life in the Philippines, and a day in life in parts of Africa, and a day in the life in Dubai. I'm just thinking of a few people. Day in the life in Marina del Rey. So places that I've never had the opportunity to visit, but still love to see what people's everyday lives are like. And I watch a couple of videos. A couple of people do motorcycle ride lives, or not even motorcycle, but motor scooter lives. And I watch the traffic, and I marvel that people can survive the traffic without killing themselves or having others kill them. And yet it's part of everyday life in some of the world. You look at the lives of some of the people sailing, and some of the things they get into, trying to get in and out of the harbor, or trying to get in and out of an anchorage. And it's a marvelous way to see what the rest of the world is doing. I always learn something. I was watching somebody's video today about how to tie a rope onto a cleat on a dock, and it's something I've been doing for 50 years. And you still watch the whole thing, and you say, yeah, that's right, that's how you do it. I mean, that's how you do it anyway. But either learn it or validate the knowledge that you have in things that are second nature. Yeah, other countries, sometimes I try to guess what the country is. I mean, people shows in their bio, but it is really amazing. It's harder with languages that you don't understand. Google Translate helps from time to time, but then the videos speak for themselves, and the things people are showing are interesting. I watch a lot of cooking shows, and I am fascinated by food, and some food that fits into people's cultures, and you don't understand the words they're saying, but you can deduce the ingredients that they're putting in. You can deduce what they're doing with them, and some things look good enough to eat. Some things look good enough to eat. The I look at other people's food videos, and I wonder sometimes how beautiful some of their pictures are, and I look at some of mine and I say that's not that exciting. How do people make things look so interesting in a live YouTube kind of world where things happen fast, and if it's live, there's no editing. You can't go back and fix things. Although on TikTok again, I've been coming across a lot of people talking about OBS, the video management system, open broadcast system that YouTube supports, that allows a fair amount of video production, even on a live stream. So you can fix the color, fix the brightness, even on a live stream, not just when you're editing after the fact. And I ask myself, is that a worthwhile thing to get into? OBS. I don't see the point in StreamYard and some of those other services, unless I was to invite other people into the session. StreamYard manages that, although I saw something today when I was setting up where the built-in YouTube allows you to invite other people into the stream. So I'm going to try that one to see how that works with multiple people being in the stream at the same time. And but maybe that's overkill. I mean, I watch the fishing shows, and guys have their phone on a pole and they're out fishing and catching fish, and you enjoy just looking at the scenery and looking at the beautiful weather that they're having, and hoping to catch a fish. So there's some interesting capabilities out there. Just looking outside in real life to see how bright it is. It is getting dark. The sundown is supposed to be at 8:30 today, and it's only 7 o'clock. So it's got a long way to go before 7:12. A long way to go before it gets dark. But then we'll just bring the camera inside the boat and sit back and relax and have a Diet Coke. Upstream. Okay, I will look at that. I'll try to understand what it does, what it might do for you. Always interested in seeing something new upstream. Yes, I've watched your lives stitching. Live? Have it live or just videos? I'm not sure I've ever seen us stitching it up live. We'll try to track one down the next time. But yeah, I'll make a note from the chat here to see what that software does. I do believe in simplicity. Hey, Easy Reels, welcome aboard. Okay, maybe I'm missing something then. Next time I see you stitching it up, I will pay more attention. Some of the lives when I'm on my computer, I just turn on 2 or 3 lives and sort of watch them out of the corner of my eye and give people hours. And then you barely use a Zoom over and say, "Oh, I missed that. What happened here? How did that go?" And it's a community kind of thing. Yeah, Izzy, it's I mean, it's a gray day, so all we see is clouds and a few other boats. The marina's getting pretty full with boats for the summer. Um, originally, when I had planned this, the Weather Network did promise to give us sunny weather. I don't know if it was a promise or whether it was just I had a picture of the sun on the app, and I guess they lied or they were optimistic. So yeah, we've had clouds, but at least it's not raining. The first live I did off the boat, it was raining, and the West Point where, yeah, this marina has no food. I see a food truck in the parking lot, so it's possible that we're going to get food trucks for the summer. There's certainly enough boats. I think like 300 boats, 350 boats that would keep a food truck alive. All we've got on a regular basis is chocolate bars. But then again, I'm doing a cooking show of cooking on a boat, so why am I worrying about other people's food? But other people's food is good too. The closest grocery store is a 15-minute drive. Hey, Wandering, welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Ahoy. Hey, Izzy, the boat is 20 years old. It's it's a 2000. I guess it's 24 years, or 2001. I think it's somewhere in there. It's in pretty good shape. It was well taken care of. Um, the, um, the boat I had before this was older. It was a '79, and the fiberglass was really thick in comparison to this one. Hey, Dragon Corso. The here in some places you can see daylight, not daylight, but sunlight through the fiberglass. So it's the fiberglass matting with a gilted finish, but it's not very thick. Whereas the older boat was more heavily made. I guess at that time, boat manufacturers figured that if they made things out of thick fiberglass, then they would last longer and be more secure. And I think they're right. You look at the quality. Nobody wants to pay more than they absolutely have to, and a lot of what goes into a boat is labor, right? People want to get paid properly. So they end up cutting corners, or it's not cutting corners, but end up economizing in some of the areas where they can. But this one's pretty good. The teak is good. Good teak, nicely finished with teak oil. The cushions are decent quality. It's a respectable boat. It's a mid-price boat. It's not it's not like a Dufour or Melges, one of the French boats or one of the German boats. It's American made in Florida. It's a competitor to Catalina. The Catalinas are made in California, and so they compete with each other. They were bought by Marlowe. Marlowe make multi-million-dollar cruisers, motorboats, and they some of the quality leaches through. Hey, as you know, I'm in Canada. I'm in Toronto, which is on Lake Ontario, so it's sort of middle north. It's New York is on the south side of Lake Ontario where we are, and we're on the north side. New York, Ohio, it comes in there a little bit. So we're sort of central eastern Canada, southern Canada. So we're almost as far south in Canada as you can get. Point Pelee is as far south as you can get. They're in Point Pelee is in Lake Erie, and I think it's further south than Northern California. They keep liking to say that to rub it in when people ask. On the other hand, it freezes in the winter, so it doesn't freeze in California. I mean, I've been skiing in California, so there's snow in the winter in the mountains, but it's a different kind of winter than here. Lake Erie at that point, at Point Pelee, freezes solid in the winter. People go ice fishing as a kid. My father would drive out. He had a little Volkswagen Bug, Volkswagen Beetle. We'd drive it out on the lake and go ice fishing. So we're talking about 10, 12 inches of ice. That again is not a California kind of thing. Yeah, so it's May. It's starting to get reasonably warm. Hopefully, by June we'll be sailing and spending more time on the boat. Bought a barbecue that I've got to figure out where to mount for the stern of the boat. That will end up being featured in a few recipes that I've learned from other people. And still the plan is to go fishing a few times and catch and cook. So that will be a bit of the summer. And still got a few people walking by. I mean, it's a weeknight, so there's not a lot of people out, and it's a cool weeknight. It was 15 degrees Celsius when I drove in. 15 is what, 50? Yeah, 50. So that's chilly. That's chilly. But it is what it is. We can't complain. I know people who grew up in London, England, and when you look at London, you say, "Oh, it's raining all the time." But they say, "Well, if we worry about going out when it's raining, we'll never go out because it's raining all the time." So you adapt to what you have and enjoy it. So we'll see out on the water what it's going to be like this year. It's an interesting bit of news hit the newspapers here today. There is a beach. It's the only nude beach, officially nude beach in this area, and it's officially a nude beach, but unofficially it's a LGBTQ area, and it's mainly gay guys from what you see. Okay, Stitching, I will check you out and see if I can figure out what software you're using. So it's a nice beach. It's on Center Island, Toronto Island. It faces west, so they get the nice warm evening sunshine. But it's also a nice anchorage for boats because the bottom is sandy, and you can anchor there and jump in the water and swim ashore. And so now there's concern that the beach people are upset with the boat people because the boat people are having too many parties, and it's disturbing the beach life. So it's becoming a whole issue in the local news. If you search Hanlon's Beach boats, Hanlan's Beach Toronto boat. Hanlan, Hanlans Beach Toronto motorboats. It will probably show up in Google with a description of why beach people are decided. And of course, the boat people, it's the lake, right? And we party. So beach people party, boat people party. So it's going to be a political thing. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They did do beach restoration. There's been some strange currents in the lake here that have washed away a couple of beaches. And last year, the conservation agencies dumped a bunch of huge rocks in the water there, so you can't get super close anymore anyway. And that will keep the boat people away from the beach people to some extent. Be interesting to see. I mean, the things we get upset about, but those are the things you get upset about. If you're a boat person, then you're on the side of the boat people to some extent. Lying on the beach, that's great as well. Getting a bit of sunshine is what summer's all about. You'd think in a city this size that the Royal, would set up a few more clothing optional beaches, but I guess it's never really been a priority to anybody. So yeah. I mean, you look at some of the big new beaches in Vancouver. They're famous, but we can't change it. We do sail by there from time to time because it's where Toronto holds the air show, and the air show happens on the shore just to the west of Ontario Place, so sort of to the west of downtown Toronto, and hundreds of boats anchor out in that area to watch the air show. And at one point there was less restriction on when boats could anchor. We did have an accident 20 years ago. British crashed. Killed another airplane falling out of the sky on top of it. And that would put a bit of a crack in the day if that happened to you. So the police create a line of boys that keep people out. And I remember last year we were out there listening to the VHF radio, ship-to-shore radio, and somebody is looking for help because they ran aground in the area that they're not supposed to be in because of the air show. And we're listening to the radio and laughing a little bit because I'm not 100% sure where you can run aground there without actually running around on that beach that we're talking about. But they're raiding the Coast Guard, Mayday, Mayday, we're run aground off of Ontario Place, where the air show is, where you're not supposed to be. However, it's always easy to criticize other people, the way other people move. And one assumes they knew what they were doing, or they didn't know what they were doing and just got lost, or they're following ways and thought that they were in their car and driving ways to turn left, and they turned left and ran out of the lake. So the air show happens middle of July, end of July, and it's a nice long weekend. You get some interesting planes. From time to time we've had the Blue Angels, we've had the British Red Barons, British Red Devils, Canada had the Snowbirds, and So there's interesting acrobatics and colorful streamers off of the plane, parachute jumping, guys in biplanes, biplane that's there on a regular basis, biplane that's there on a regular basis that does stunts, streaming a huge cloud of smoke that probably upsets the environmentalists. And there's a whole crowd of people, like the new beach people, that are upset about the noise because the noise scares the cat. They're not wrong to complain about the noise scaring the cat, but keep the cat in the house for the 2 hours that it's at. But then again, now I'm going to be called the hater of cats. Used to have cats on the farm. Allergic to cats if they're close by. I know people have cats on their boat. I always wonder where the cat does his business, but I guess that's something people figure out how to deal with. The one of the things I want to do in the summer is make a herb garden on the boat, 3 or 4 plants. Always wondering how to keep them watered. That's the biggest thing that I would see, because you can leave them outside, then they're still going to dry unless you have big enough pots. But I like the idea of having parsley and some chives and maybe a garlic plant or two. I like the smell of garlic plants. We had them in the garden as a kid, and they made an interesting smell. And I remember driving through LA, and it was in some movie where we talked about the garlic fields east of LA, and I've driven through there on the way to Bakersfield, maybe Mount Park, or can't remember where. So east of LA, and you could actually smell like a garlic smell in the air as you're driving through that area. And it's part of the farm environment. If you drive by a cow farm, there's cow manure, it smells like cows. But the garlic is a bit more pleasant than cow manure, I would say. Hey, GPS photo, welcome aboard. So what else did I do? When I got here, I still flushing the tank. The water tank has still a little bit of antifreeze in it. It's pink, so we don't get to see the pink color, but you see a little bit of smell of the antifreeze. It's sort of sweet, almost sickly smell. As you say, it's not. It's potable. It's safe to drink. It's safe for plumbing. But you can smell it. So that's still there, and I'm trying to get that cleaned out. And I'm just looking at the cushions. One of the cushions in the Vibra has to get replaced. It got wet somehow a couple years ago, and I've ignored it. But I think we're going to put new foam rubber into. into that to give us fix that particular problem. And then it'll be summer, so it's not dark yet. I'm looking at, if the sun was shining, we'd have such a beautiful little sunset peeking out under those clouds. But it's all hidden, so I guess we should be thankful that it's not raining. That all we're getting is the gloomy clouds. Do you see any rain? No, I don't see any rain on the hatches. Don't see any rain on the hatches. One of the things I noticed is that as the trees are getting green, they're starting to get a lot of pollen, and they're sneezing from time to time. Now it's interesting that out here on the water, we're further away from the trees. That's not bothering me. But this morning, I was sneezing my head off because of pollen in the air. I guess I could look at the weather network here. It does provide a pollen index that tries to guess how much allergens are in the air. Make my eyes dry as well, so I'm sitting here rubbing my eyes. So hopefully that will go away. So one of the boats across the way that we see off to the left of the screen is the Tanger 26, and it's a guy and a girl, or a man and a woman that sailed that, and it's a pretty little boat. It's a little smaller, but very pretty in terms of the shape, and pretty strong in terms of wind. Canadian-made boat. The company's no longer with us, but Cancer. But they made pretty powerful boats. And then as the boats got bigger, they had the Tanger 16, and they made a 22. That was very popular. Then they moved to the 26 foot, and they tried to go into the 30-foot business, and that killed them. They lost their connection to the smaller boat world, and they couldn't develop a connection to the 30 and up world. So they lost a lot of it. The Tanger 22s, and these boats are 40 years old. There's still a lot of them in the water, and a lot of them in very good shape. There's one across, it's 26, but still in very good shape, and wonderful people that sail on. The motorboat was straight in front of us. Last I spoke to him in the fall, he was going to sell it, but it's still there. So either he sold it with the slip, and the new owner is taking that over, or the sale never happened, and they lost their. There's a couple of kids on that boat, young kids. It's maybe a 27, 26 foot bow rider. A lot of room for the kids to play around in. Pretty safe for the amount of waves that we get here. And it's a nice looking boat. Partly bow, it's covered with a black tarp, so it's hard to see looks like at this point. But it nevertheless is a nice boat. And they say sailors hate motorboat people, but and call them bad names, stink pots. But I'm easy. A boat is a boat, and people do bad things or strange things in sailboats and in motorboats. I guess in a canoe or a kayak, it's harder to do anything really troublesome. But people are doing what they think is fun. The it it's you know it's a toy. It's a pastime. Um, we these aren't work boats. None of us are fishermen or people working on the water. So it's an enjoyment kind of thing. Hey, Brian Drums, welcome aboard. Nice to see you. And Joji, my number one guapa Papa's girl. So I had to look up what guapa means. Guapa means beauty. The yeah, it was a different show from the one you usually do, and a different show from the one that Scott usually does as well. He usually has more music, but it's always pleasant to watch you. I think that was one I said I leave some stuff running in the background, and that was one I'm sure I had that on for an hour, just off to the side. I think Scott was doing some singing in there. House of the Rising Sun he was singing. And I hadn't heard that song in a long time. And I did actually learn how to play guitar to that many years ago. Can't do that anymore, but it was a good it was a nice live. The yeah, Brian, I don't think I spent a lot of time listening to you today for some reason. Or we might have put you on and then put somebody else on beside that and lost track of how many lives I was watching. But listen to your drumming, man, and it's really good. I once bought a drum machine to create background music for a video project. And I thought I was smart, but I'm obviously not smart and not talented enough to figure out how to use something as simple as a drum machine. And then the software got upgraded, and I lost it. Was it a Roland drum machine? I can't remember what drum machine it was. But yeah, no, musical talent is an amazing thing. The Joji and Scott, it's a nice show, watching you guys. Just move it over to the side and look over once in a while, and it's a nice show. It's a nice show. Now I'm not so much into gaming. So when Scott does his gaming shows, I get totally lost and then move on to something else. assume that's a talent, you know. And then you look at other gamers and watch some of their lives, and watch some of their saved streams, and you say that's an interesting way of life. We're talking earlier about watching lives or rides or walkthroughs of other countries, and you learn something about other people's lives. So watching gamers is interesting because it's a different kind of lifestyle that obviously works. The but yeah, I'm not a gamer. Happy to have gamers on board, and I follow a bunch of gamers because I love some of the graphics that are in their videos. You know, the technology of some of the games is amazing. Yeah, so we're waiting for it to get dark outside. So it's sundown is supposed to be 8:30. It's 7:45 now. So we'll see how quickly it gets dark. I was hoping we'd have a nice sunset. And that's partly why I aimed the camera to the west, so the boat's facing west. Hey Kitty. Hey Kitty, welcome aboard. Glad to see you. Oh shoot, I just lost that. Just lost my connection here. I do as a mod. Network with anybody that you want. I'll come and check you out later. What I'm going to try to do here is open my window. Instead of closing my window, that way I won't lose my connection. And I can still manage this thing. I'm going to move the camera and see what it looks like looking a little bit towards the other side. So let's see, hopefully I can screw the thing up. Let's see if we can see a bit more of an interesting view than just about this boat. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if we can turn this a little bit to the side. And then we'll adapt that. So slightly different view. Just as gray. Not going to get any better. see when it starts getting darker, we'll bring the camera inside and find an interesting angle on the inside of the boat. Yeah, it is nice, Jody. I like boats, and I could sit here and just look at other people's boats. If the sun was shining, it would be nicer. But I mean, you can't change the sun, so it's I don't know what we've got out to the side. That side, there's not much. We can basically see the shore of the marina and some of the other docks. The in front of the boat. I was going to actually put up that thing off to the left side of the picture is the forestay, furling forestay. I was actually going to put up the jib sail, the sail that's at the front of the boat today, and then it was a bit too windy when it came down, and now it's too damp to do that, but that's got to get done as well. And we'll see, maybe on the weekend. I haven't yet checked to see what the weather was like on the weekend.
No, it's nice that the creature comforts.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how
I hear people walking by. Let's see who's coming in. People are giving up for the day. It's getting dark. It's getting evening, and there's not much that you can do with this weather. Just have to wait it out, and then it'll get better. It'll get better as summer comes along. Just had to stop to check something. So I may have missed 111 code. Hey, welcome aboard. Yeah, sorry, I had stepped away from the computer for a minute there. Welcome aboard. Ahoy. Nice to see you. Yeah, we're out looking at the marina. I'm looking for a more interesting perspective. Let's just move that camera the other direction, see if we got a more interesting view. Looking down the dock to the left, to the port side. Let's see what it says. What have we got there now? So now we're looking off to the left. There's just different boats. A couple of liveaboard people. Pretty quiet this time of the night. I'm just gonna try to zoom that just a little bit. I think you can zoom on the phone. Don't zoom too much. Let's see. That's more interesting. Dock boxes, but still, better part of the outside world. Still no sunset to be seen anywhere. You always hear water and wonder, is something leaking? And then, but it's just the wavelets bouncing against the side of the hull. And where I'm sitting, I'm not below the water line, but I'm pretty close to the water line, so you hear that. You hear some strange noises every once in a while. Boats going by a distance away. Curious to see what it says. Well, I think from looking at the flags on that boat, there's seems even more of a breeze than I thought there was. I closed the hatches on the windward side, but I guess we're still getting a decent, bit of a decent breeze here. That it's interesting. In this part of the world, the wind is from the east, and we always say a wind from the east is a bad wind, and an easterly wind blows no good, because an easterly wind always foretells rainy weather. And I can't see the barometer from here, but I'm sure it's hard to tell. The barometer is probably pretty low, and I'm assuming that we're going to have cruddy weather tomorrow as well. So we'll see. I still have to install a couple of seats. There's jump seats at the back of the boat that take off in the winter, because they're covered with teak strips, and the teak, especially when there's a bit of snow on them, the sun goes through the snow, and then the snow forms like a lens, like a magnifying glass, and it actually burns the surface of the varnish. So in the winter, just take them off. They have to get put back in. I just stubbed my toe on one of them that are lying out here. The lots of little things to do. To change the oil in the engine. Have to change the impeller in the water pump. That's a project for this year. I want to change their boat radio. It's an old radio, and I bought one that supports Bluetooth, so that it'll play on Bluetooth speakers. That has to get installed still. It's another one of the many things to be done, but it's fun. I mean, the fixing is as much fun as the sailing, sitting on the boat and watching the weather, watching the birds, and watching the other people is as much fun as anything else. So it's a nice way to kill time, nice way to spend time. But I do want the weather to get better. I want it to be 80 degrees. I want to be sitting on the deck without a shirt on, getting a sunburn. Because there's only so much time that you can do that before it starts getting cold again, and then we're back to winter again. And I want the weather to be nice enough because I do want to use that barbecue that I bought on the boat a few times. And barbecuing is always more fun if you're if it's decent weather. So it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to bring the camera inside because it's getting boring outside. Not much is happening out there. Why are we getting buffering? I guess it's the Wi-Fi is having a challenge. Let's see what else is happening. Yeah, we don't see any more excitement out there. So let's bring the camera in. So it's going to be a little bit of a light on. There. Yeah, so let's bring this camera in. this camera in. Okay, down you go. Let's try not to make a mess. Try not to bang it too much. Wake people up too much. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's flip the camera and straighten it out. And bring it back together. I guess that's the normal size. And let's rotate this just a hair. Put that there. I'm just going to do one more thing. I'm going to move this light for a second. And we're going to close the front hatch. It's getting too cold out here. There we are. Now, snug as a bug in a rug. There we are. Okay. So, I'm bouncing around there. What are we up to now? 5 viewers. So we do want more people. We are trying to get 1,000 subs. Working on it. Not quite there yet. It's a slow grind, but I appreciate everybody that's following and everybody that's visiting, everybody that's watching. The oh, there's that sneezing going on. Yeah, so we've closed all the hatches, so we'll keep the damp out a little bit. Maybe even plug in the heater and get some warmth going in here. The you can hear the fridge going a little bit in the background, so it's a 12-volt fridge. It's a very small fridge, so when I'm talking about cooking on a boat without a fridge, it's not just a boat without a fridge, but it's a very small fridge. The size of probably a decent cooler that has no shelves, so everything is sort of piled on top of everything else. So it's very hard to organize it, but it keeps stuff cold, and it is quite good. So part of the boat cooking issue is if you can keep the bulk of your ingredients in a pantry, so canned stuff like Spam, for instance, then the fridge is only there for the leftover Spam. So if you're having a Spam burger on one day and Spam and eggs the next day, you're saving stuff, but you don't have room to save it for more than a couple of days. And you can keep a few things like eggs and a bit of milk for bacon and eggs or for an omelet. but you can't keep lots. It's not like a household fridge. It's not even like a small bar fridge. Um, it's like a big cooler, but but it's there. The previous boat didn't have the actual refrigeration, so we'd bring a block of ice down every once in a while. But if you're only on the boat on weekends, the ice wouldn't last over the week, so you couldn't leave perishable food there on an ongoing basis. So everything had to be canned unless you brought it down for the day. So yeah, so cans of beans, and again cans of spam and corned beef, tuna. They all last forever. We here in Toronto don't have some of the interesting things that I see um, people cooking with in Jamaica, for instance, or in Trinidad. So there are a variety of creams that are sold there that are in Tetra Paks. So they last forever until opened. We don't have that. So for milk on an ongoing basis, um, then evaporated milk works well. The and again lasts forever, but once you open the can, then you can't save it because there isn't enough room in the fridge, and there isn't enough shelf space to save stuff like an open can of something. So I guess you could pour it in a container, and it would last for another couple of days. I know when we sailed in the Virgin Islands, we bought a provisioning package, so it was a week, and we had 7 different meals. So a couple of fish and a couple of meat, a couple of chicken, and a couple others, various things, and they were all delivered frozen. And the boat had a fridge, an ice box that was driven from the engine. So technically it's called a cold plate. And it was cold as long as you ran, pardon me, ran the engine for an hour or so a day. And under normal circumstances, you do that anyway, getting in and out of an anchorage. And it would keep keep your provisions cold, keep your food cold, and it worked pretty well. I was surprised. I thought by the end of that trip that we'd have food that would become questionable, but it worked out. It worked out pretty well. Um, I look at motor yachts with real fridges and real freezers, and I'm a bit envious with the amount of creature comforts that are built into those environments. I guess it's the same in an RV, where the RV space is at a premium. RVs seem to be a little bit more oriented towards the house type of fridges with doors and shelves, so you can get at stuff more easily. But again, RVs bounce around on the road, so you don't want everything in your fridge falling out when you open the door. So it's got to be a challenge to keep everything neat and organized there as well. camper trailers. I guess it's the same thing with a camper trailer, or fifth wheel is an RV in terms of space. Um, RVs have a source of battery power, so 12-volt fridges will work on an ongoing basis. Camper trailer, yeah, when it's connected to a car or a truck, then it has a source of 12-volt power. But when it's disconnected, what do people use to power things like fridges? I've never understood how gas-powered fridges work. I've heard of them and seen them, and I thought Electrolux, the European appliance company, made a gas-powered fridge, but I've never understood how they actually work. Hey, Quintel, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming by. Ahoy. Let's make you a mod. Let you share with the other people's links. Glad to see you. Just be careful how many emojis you put there, because I think Nightbot will come after you. I thought Nightbot would come after you if you put more than 3 emojis in a row, but maybe Nightbot is asleep at the switch. I know at the beginning of today's show, a few people, Nightbot got after them because they had too many emojis. And I understand it. I've seen some people's lives where the whole chat window is full of the same emoji, and I don't understand what the message is. I mean, if I see 2 hands waving, I understand that. If I see one rose, 1 flower, I understand that. But 52, overkill. So I let Nightbot sort of do what it wants to do. It seems to work, and as long as he doesn't cut you off, then we're good. So thank you for coming by. I will check you out. I don't know if I have checked you out before or not. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I need all the subscribers I can get. What am I saying? So we're yeah, that radio you're seeing off over my head, that's the one I want to replace with one that does Bluetooth, so that it will talk to Bluetooth speakers in the cockpit. I have a pair of wired speakers, but the problem with wire, of course, is the wire has to be run there, and then get tripped over and get yanked when ropes are pulled. So Bluetooth is so convenient in that you turn it on and suddenly there's a connection. And the boat isn't big enough that you have to worry about the distance away from the Bluetooth to make it work. Let's just try something. I'm going to lower this camera a little bit. And let's just turn that sideways, go there like that. There we are. That's a better look, better view of the back of the boat. Now we don't have that light shining right into the camera. It's yeah, Quintel. So good morning. Where are you? Because here it is 8 o'clock at night, so it's almost evening. Where is good morning happening? It's always interesting when you watch people talking about. For me, it's still Saturday, and other people are talking about it being Sunday already and having a nice Sunday. People are spread around the world, and we're all talking to each other, and sharing our sharing our experiences halfway around the world. The 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 sharing is I guess kind of the most interesting thing that that you can talk to people from around the world that you don't know, which is an amazing concept. I guess if we go back 50 years, we had ham radio, and people would talk to each other around the world without ever seeing each other. And with this, you can see me, and I can track down your channel and see you, so we can see what we look like and sort of develop an understanding of each other a little bit from being able to see each other, because people see, right? That's how people learn about other people, by seeing what they look like and seeing what kind of hat they have. Captain's hat. The Don't forget to like the channel. Appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I need all the subscribers I can get. Hoping that this will be monetized at one point, although that might not ever occur. I look at the people with the 10,000 views for their chicken pasta, 100 views for my chicken pasta. So I'm wondering why are some people's chicken pasta more exciting than my chicken pasta? And some people are famous, and some people aren't. But chicken pasta is chicken pasta. So it's looking for as many people as we can to support this effort. The probably should have started this many years ago. That's the other thing. YouTube's been around since 2004, 2005. No, longer than that. And should have been on YouTube at that point. But here we are now, 6 people watching. The I have to go through all those books that are over above my head. Some of them are the manuals for the boat. So there's a manual for the engine, and a manual for the mast, and a manual for the other major components. And it came very well described about how things work. And a lot of those manuals are also available as downloadable PDFs from the Hunter website, the Boat Builder website. And I've read most of them. Now, one of the things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to add a remote starter button so that I can start the engine from inside the boat. Right now, you can only start it from the key that's outside. And being able to start it while you're inside is good when you're trying to fix things or trying to see what doesn't work without having to climb up and down. But the challenge is to find which 2 wires are the starter button without causing damage to those wires, and everything is pretty tightly wound so that it doesn't get damaged in the first place. But that makes it harder to get at it and add something like another connection to there. There's no terminal strips. It's there's nothing to solder onto, but it's a matter of finding the right wires and patching into them and putting in another button for the remote starter. I wanted that mostly this spring when I was flushing the the antifreeze out of the engine, it would have been nice to be able to connect a jug of water to the intake of the water pump and let it run without going up and down, and that when the engine is open and accessible, then there's no ladder. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me. There's no ladder, so it's harder to get up, and you don't really want to step on the motor while it's running because things are going around. So it's a remote start would be a good thing. You still have to go outside to run the throttle, but from the point of view of this kind of maintenance, of flushing, the all it needs is to be able to start. The The chosen one, welcome aboard. How are you? Good to see you. Let's make you a mod that you can network with other people as well. So what else is there to talk about? Yeah, it's getting pretty dark outside. So really the next thing that I need to do on this boat is get the mainsail up. It's a bit of a job because it's heavy and it has to be fed through the hatch and fed through the stays so that it goes onto the track on the boom. And I got to see if I can get somebody to give me a hand with that. We'll get the mainsail up, and then once the mainsail is on the boom, then the lazy jack. So it's a bunch of ropes that keep the sail from flopping all over the place when it's down, have to be replaced. So the boat didn't come with them, and I built a set or made a set of lazy jacks last year, and I wasn't really happy with the way they were laid out, because they would catch the end of the sail, the leech of the sail, and both when the sail is going up and when the sail is coming down, and that would make a mess, and then you have to go forward and unhook everything. And the reason for lazy jacks is to avoid this whole issue of going to the front of the boat when the sails are going up and down. So I'll have to replace those lazy jacks. I got a quote from Jennifer, and let's just decline the call from Texas. I'm sure it's spam anyway. So I got a quote from Genco, and they wanted $3,000, not including installation. Yeah, Dragon King. We'll see how the spring rolls out. So certainly need the sails up before we're out in the lake. I would guess we're into June now. Somebody suggested trying to do a live from there. Um, I don't here. I have Wi-Fi, so I have to make sure that the phone signal is adequate out in the water, and we have to see what the angle is. But I guess, I don't think we would do 2 hours of live. I think we'd do 30 minutes, which is sort of the time it takes to sail from one end of the Toronto Island to the other, and it's a pretty view when you're going by there, and there's always activity from other boats, so maybe it'll be worthwhile. It's worth a try. The I won't know in advance, so I guess if I know, I can schedule it and let people know. It'll be during the day, and a lot of people that I think subscribe during my day here in Eastern Daylight Time aren't online. So, but we'll give it a try anyway and see if anybody watches, and if they do, then we'll see if we can make it a sort of regular occurrence. There is a bit of keeping your eye on the boat and not on a computer while you're doing all this out in the water. So it is something to keep in mind. It may be a live where I don't have the opportunity to read the chat, and we'll just keep going until we're finished, and then we'll thank everybody for coming aboard. So I like that idea of doing that once we get into summer. In October, we have some nice weather in October as well, where we don't get a lot of. We will have days without a lot of wind, so it's a very, very gentle, relaxing sail, and it gets very warm. And I mean, you just lie back and keep one foot on the wheel, so that you don't run into things. Set the sail for whatever angle the wind is at, and then drift around for a while. Again, is that interesting as a thing to watch? Hey, Martin J. Welcome aboard. Connect to whoever you want. I made you a mod. The October is nice because then it's a little bit quieter, but you still get some beautiful scenery. The trees are still green, although you get a little bit of yellow coming up as well. And some of the best sails that I can think of have been in October. I remember one. I was getting warm, and I was getting warm from the sun, and the lake water was still warm. So when I say warm, I don't know, 70 degrees. And I took a bucket and dumped it over my head because I just wanted to get wet. You can't really jump overboard while the boat is moving, right? So and I remember that day the lake water was so warm, and the sun was so warm, and it was like a sun shower. Hey, Soul Stitches. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. The uh, I'd like another day like that this year. The and the water gets warm closer to the beaches. So I was talking before about Hanlan's Beach. It's a beach that faces west, and it's relatively shallow. So the water over the shallow water gets nice and warm, and it's protected from some of the currents that bring colder water in. So that's a nice area to dangle your feet in the water. Um, the We'll see what October looks like when we get closer to there. The um, the marina is first of all there's hundreds of boats and modest pollution from all of the boats. The marina water isn't water you'd want to jump into, or even stick your feet into, I guess. Um, it, but I mean, it's not dirty. It's relatively clean. Um, but but the thought of sticking your feet into marina water, bleh, sometimes. Um, one option is to buy a dinghy, a rubber boat, and anchor off a beach, and then take the rubber boat down to the beach and sit on the beach. Now, do you need to sit on a beach if you have a boat? Um, I like the beach. We live close to a beach, and it. And but if you're on a boat, then you don't need a beach. If you're in the beach, you walk in the water, you jump in the water because that's how you get wet, right? Um, Never really thought of that. How the when we were in the Virgin Islands, yeah, we'd anchor and swim in the water, and it would be wonderfully warm. The water is like 75, 80 degrees in that part of the Caribbean. So it's a totally different experience. Yeah, I've never been to Lake Michigan, under any part of Lake Michigan. Not even a lot of Lake Superior, I guess. I've been in Georgian Bay and that parts of Lake, and then Lake Erie. Um, but Lake Michigan, I guess you're a little bit more to the south than we are here, so it must get nice and warm. Hey, love child, thank you for coming aboard. Ahoy. The the parts of Georgian Bay that I've sailed in, and it's been other people's boats, um, have all been nice, and they've been later in the summer, so the water has been nice and warm, um, and those were wonderful excursions. I remember one boat that I was out with other people. It was an Alberg 29, which is an old liveaboard style boat, and he had a beautiful handmade dinghy. So the guy was a carpenter by a hobby carpenter, and he built this boat by hand, and we rode out into the shallower parts of I guess it's a place called Y Marsh almost. That seems right? Because we're in the Y Heritage Marina at one point, and that water was beautifully warm and not very deep. You could almost stand on the bottom in a lot of places. Um, a lot of vegetation, so lily pads and bulrushes. But it was a wonderful experience jumping in the water there. Um, I spent a number of weeks over years in LA and Marina del Rey and Santa Monica, but I don't think I was ever in the water there. Um, in Florida, I've been in the waters off of the ocean side, never on the Gulf, but on the ocean side, so Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood and off of Miami, I guess, off of the Keys, Key West, Key Largo, Key something or else. I can't remember which one. Esmeralda, I think. We spent time there. Um, and those waters are very warm. Key West was disappointing because there was a lot of growth on the Atlantic side. The Gulf side was nicer, but there were no beaches that we were at. The But the Gulf side of Key West always had vast amounts of sort of brownish seaweed that wasn't pleasant to walk in, um, and smelled a little bit too. I like ocean smells of all the things that are in an ocean, but rotting seaweed isn't one of them. I guess I've been in the waters off of Cape Cod on the bay side and also on the ocean side, and off of Provincetown, there's huge beaches south of there on the ocean side, and beautiful sand dunes. I guess that's where that song is set about. If you like pina coladas, um, those dunes were wonderful to hang out in, and that water was nice. The bay side was nicer. The Atlantic side a little bit colder. The Gulf Stream comes by there, so you'd think that it would be relatively warm, but it it was noticeably colder on the ocean side, on the Atlantic side, than it was on the bay side. Never been in the water in Europe or the Mediterranean or any of those places. I guess that's something that is either on the bucket list or not going to happen. Hey, Trekking with Deb and Mike, welcome aboard. Ahoy there. Let's make you a mod. Network if you wish. The yeah, so the number of oceans that I've stuck my toe in, I guess there's been a few of them. Never been to South America, never been to the East, Orient, Asia. Vancouver, been in the water off Vancouver, both mainland side, not on the Vancouver Island, the mainland side. Looking for Wreck Beach, the nude beach there. Never did find it, but been off the water there. That was the first time I sailed where there was a tide, and I'd rented a small boat, and False Creek Marina comes to mind, and sailed out into the bay, and then decided I was out far enough. Wanted to turn around because I had somewhere else I had to go that evening, and tide was going out, and so the tide was pushing me out faster than the boat could sail back into shore. So that was a little bit scary almost. That no matter what I was doing, I wasn't I wasn't getting anywhere. And then, so I just picked a different angle, and the wind picked up, and we were okay. But that was, I think, the first time I sailed in tidal waters. So it's people that are sailing in the ocean on a regular basis. It's a normal thing, right? It's part of your planning, part of what you're doing. But if you're a lake person, we don't have tides. So that whole concept of water rushing in and water rushing out is not something that we deal with here at all. And if you're on the water, I guess Nova Scotia, I've been in the water off Nova Scotia as well, off Cape Breton, on the ocean side and on the Gulf side. That water was cold because the Gulf Stream has headed out to sea at that point, so they're getting sort of an Arctic flow coming down, and I remember that being pretty cold. So it's another thing to deal with. Yeah, no. The thing I like about salt water is I can't swim well, but salt water keeps me afloat, right? So it's it's much more enjoyable being in salt water than in fresh water from that perspective. So we've been online for a couple of hours. I'm going to hoist anchor and head out of here. I've got some other stuff I have to do this evening. It's 8:47. I do appreciate everybody dropping by. Thank you very much. I promise I will go through the chat and come to visit each of your lives and watch your stuff. There's some really interesting stuff out there. Some stuff I don't understand, but that's okay. I just enjoy watching what people have created and trying to understand what was in their minds when they published whatever it is that they've done. So thank you for coming aboard. I'm going to put out the gangplank and get everybody off. Aloha. Let's see, how do I turn this off? Oh yes, I have to turn it off on the phone. And we push this button here, and it says, "Are you sure?" And we say, "Okay."